Hello guys and welcome back to DarkHorse FM, and in today's video we're going to be looking at how to snatch up Wonderkids early in Football Manager 2022. I'm currently in my Leeds United savers at the year January 2028, so we're convinced that there are a lot of Wonderkids already in this game that you can actually go on to find. So I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips, possibly 6, but maybe 5 tips that you can use to actually snatch up those Wonderkids early and find them indeed in Football Manager 2022. These tips that I'm going to be sharing with you have been researched over the years. I applied some of them in FM2021 and in FM20 as well, so I've known it for a while. And if you're a Football Manager veteran, you probably already have an idea about most of these tips. But if you're new to the game, if you're just coming into Football Manager, you probably don't know where to find all those special, exciting players. This video will actually help you scan the game, scout for those players, and find them. You can see from my screen so far that there are already a list of players: Romelu Lukaku, Adam Campbell, and most of these other players. You probably have an idea of them already. Upamecano as well. But then there's this guy Hamid Shaifo. I don't actually know this guy, but the way my scouting is set up, my scout report actually submits a player of this quality, 21-year-old player from Iran. So you can actually sign this guy, and he's one of those players that is probably going to be a world-class player. If you look at his attributes, let's just look at his attributes to see just how good he is at the age of 21. Yeah, he has those packed attributes at acceleration, finishing. He's a world-class forward. I'm probably going to sign him at some point. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is how to actually set up your scouting report, so your scouts can actually send you players like this without you even searching for them. So if you don't already know how your scouting is supposed to be set up to give you good results, if you go to the scouting center here, you can go to the scouting center. I'm already in the scouting center. So if you just come to the scouting center here on the left hand side, go to your scout assignments, and then in the scout assignments you're going to see scouting responsibility. You can probably do this from any of the sections, but come to the scouting assignment, you can see that you can actually create a new assignment. But if you don't have your responsibility selected to yourself, you have to change the responsibility. Sometimes by default it may be assigned to your chief scout or any other player that has good, or any other staff scouting those players, or those, I'm still saying players, any of those members in your staff that actually has good player knowledge and all this kind of stuff. This might be the ones that is handling this responsibility, but more often than not it's going to be the chief scout. So you're going to go in here and then delegate, or not delegate, take over. If I change this, you can see take control. So if yours is on chief scout, just go here and then take control, so it becomes your responsibility. Once you've taken over the responsibility of scouting, you can go on and then create the assignment. That instruction is then going to pop up, and then you can go into your scouting assignments and then assign the kind of player that you're looking for. So in my case, we're looking for Wonderkids, right? Wonderkids have a certain threshold as to what I'm going to classify them as Wonderkids. It's different for everybody, it's different from every Football Manager player. But one thing that we're all going to agree on is that the potential of that player, the potential that player has to be probably star or excellent. But if you're using a mid-table side, if you're using a team like, let's say, Everton, Wolves, Southampton, and the rest, an excellent potential is going to be an ideal way to go. But if you're using the top teams like Bayern Munich, and if you're really trying to refine your search and find that absolute world beater, you can push it up to star. We're going to leave it on excellent. If you're using a really low team in lower divisions or some sorts, you can actually push this to superb, and then you'll probably just be fine with that. Next thing you want to do is to put in the age range and then the scouting range as well. So looking for player current ability, a player that is a Wonderkid, that is potentially supposed to be a Wonderkid, his playing ability is not going to be that hyped when he's like 19 or 18 years of age. So you're going to push this all the way down to probably fairly good or even decent. You can actually jump into decent, but I'm going to leave it on very good, since the player is, I'm actually looking for a player that is really, really good. Let's say to some extent has improved a little bit, and then we can actually look at his abilities and then scouting beyond from there. Once you have the player current ability all set up, you can then add the age. And Wonderkids, like I mentioned, they are of a certain age range. It's different for everybody. Like for me, players between the age of 23 and below, I'm going to class them as Wonderkids, and I can still sign them. Depending on the league I'm playing, I can go all the way down to 21 and then 19 as well. So I'm going to leave this on 21. So we have a player's current ability fairly good, potential ability excellent, and then the age range is between the age of 21 and below. That's his age range is at most 21 years of age. Once that's set up, you're good to go. You have your assignment ready, and then you don't touch anything in the scouting range. Because of the way my scout is set up, I'm actually expecting my scout to comb the entire world and find those players for me. If I'm doing it from England, let's say we're looking for players within the range of England, you're just going to repeat the same thing that you did here. Add your potential, add your current ability, and then lock the scouting range to your region as to where you are actually, to, let's say, to the leagues that you're currently playing. By the way, if you started the game and then you selected a certain league, you selected a certain country to actually play your game with, you might as well just refine your search and then lock it to that nation. Let's say I selected only the nation England to play in as my football manager save, you can just select the scouting range England, knowing that the game hasn't unlocked all the other players in all the other leagues as well. But if you only selected England, it's possible that you can still find players from other countries. So that's why I always leave my scouting range as unselected, so the staff can actually go ahead and scout those players regardless of the range. Once you have your scouting assignment set up, your scouts can actually go ahead and find you those wonder kids. Whenever they see anybody, they're going to throw it into your scouting center like this, and then you can find those players in your scouting center just the way these other players are appearing. Now, the next thing you can do to find wonder kids is actually go through their international setups. Looking at the countries, that's what I'm going to call it. Just go into there's a small globe here beside the football manager, options and the rest. There's a small globe. You can just click to that and then go to, you can see all the countries already, so you can just take your pick at random. Let's use France for example. You can just click on the nation France. It is going to click at some point. Oh, it went to Belgium. I said France. Give me France, come on. So the game did give me France in the background, but I just wasn't looking at it. By the way, Kylian Mbappe in my save is playing for Liverpool and Wesley Fofana as well. So you can imagine how my games at Anfield have been going. So let's look at how you can actually find those players, those wonder kids in France. So you can go into the squad, not the tactics by the way. You look at the national teams, they have all the way from under 23, under 21, under 19, under 18. Now with the national team setup, I actually suggest that you do this during the international break, because when you're out of the international break, those squads might not be filled up. Currently we're on the 2nd of January. I'm going to assume that we're not in an international break right now, so I'm going to show you how that's going to appear. Looking at the international break, this is the under 19 teams, it's completely blank. And then looking at the under 18s, by the way, sorry, it's completely blank. Looking at the under 19s, we can find a group of players here. Some of them have names, some of them are grayed out. You might notice that some of them will be grayed out depending on the country that you're playing. But you can look at the under 19s, on the France under 19 teams. Those players that have been called up to play for France in the under 19 are going to be ideally good players from all over the nations, all over the club teams in the nation of France. So the best right back of 16 years of age is going to be a very good right back, because he selected him from a group of other right backs in France that are of his own age range. So you can just go ahead and scout all these players, select all of them, but you can click and drag, starting from the goalkeeper, click one, drag all the way down to everybody in the France under 19 squad, and then right click, go to reports, and then ask your scout to scout those players for a week. They're going to give you a quick summary of those players' attributes, and then you can go choose the ones that you need to go ahead and continue scouting and then get the best results from those players. That's how to do it from the national team. We're going to look at the third tip now. The third tip is by national tip appearances. Still looking at France, you can see just from the right corner here, or the right side of the screen, you can see the appearances that they have. These 16-year-olds that have been playing for their national team already, they do have appearances in the team, and some of them have higher appearances than everybody else, but then you can see some of them have 30 appearances. But what we're looking for with country appearances, we're going to be looking for those very young players that have already started in the national team. That's the main national team, the senior squad, or at best the under 23 team. What you do is you're going to go back to the scouting screen, and on the scouting screen you're going to go to player search. In the player search, we're going to do this manually. I'm going to just clear this search because I've been looking for wonder kids myself, despite the fact that I'm teaching somebody else how to do it. And then you're going to clear the screen and then look for a new search. In the new search, you're going to go to add condition right here in the bottom. You can just see as the mouse is going, and then add condition, look for international appearances, caps. Caps are country appearances. I used to call it country appearances, but apparently it turns out that there is an actual cap that they give these players to wear on their head, which is strange. I didn't actually know that before. Looking at the international appearances now, you can then filter those players by 10. You can see those players that have up to 10 national appearances. You can see that the numbers on the left side of the screen here is still very high, but we're looking for players that are of a certain range, right? 21 years and under. You can see that drops all the way down to 400 and, oh wait, it's still counting, 521. So we're still going to keep going. I'm going to even drag this down even further. Let's say 17-year-olds. Nobody? Okay. Wait, 3 people. Hey! So there are 3 players of the age of, there are 3 players within that age range that have actually started for their country, and most of them are Lebanese, Syrian, and Saudi Arabian guys. So he's probably very good. And considering that they are playing in these other countries that may not be, let's say, that popular in the league, it might be something that you're going to need to scout them further. But then looking at this Mohamed Meza, I hope I got his name right. This player looks like he could actually be something. You can see his acceleration, work rate, and technique as well. So you can go ahead and scout this guy and then see how far the report takes you. I'm going to scout him for a week, and then we're going to look at results and then see just how good he is. So I did proceed my game a bit to hope that Mohammed's report is going to come, but I'm going to wait for that at some point. So looking at the 4th tip I'm going to share, which is going to be a manual search. This site is actually quite tricky. going into the manual search, we're going to clear this results again because, like I mentioned, I've been doing some search myself to find those Wonderkids, and then you can clear this manual search and then start afresh from the scratch. And this sense, you can see that we're not trying to assign a scouting assignment. This is a different menu page. What you're going to do is to lock the player age. First of all, we're looking for players within a certain age range. These are classed as Wonderkids anyway. And then in this sign, you're going to pick the attributes depending on the kind of player that you're looking for. What I would ideally do is to select all attributes, but that's very rare because no player is a good forward, a good defender, and a good goalkeeper at the same time. So let's say we're looking for a goalkeeper, we're going to select all the goalkeeper instructions, all the goalkeeper attributes that are relevant, and then all those physical attributes that you think are very good for goalkeepers. I'm going to say something like agility, and where is it? Just agility. Let's just add agility to that. Okay, let's say determination for mentality's sake, technical abilities, concentration as well. I think I'm going to add that. Okay, bravery. I'm going to add that for the goalkeeper. Click OK, and then you can see that it has assigned this to 0 results filter because obviously no player is going to be that great in. So after selecting all those attributes, you can then choose what threshold, let's say the value for those attributes that you want. Let's say like number 10. Since if I push it all the way to 11, there are probably no results for that because those players aren't that good yet. And then you can push it all the way down to 10. And then hope that a few results can actually pop up. And then you can see 3 goalkeepers, one from Serie D, and then another Brazilian goalkeeper. All these players are all in Brazil. And based on the attributes that I selected, these keepers are that good. And then I'm expecting them to be super keepers in future. If you're in mid-table, so you're probably going to want to sign these players anyway. So you can go ahead and then scout these players and then see just how good they are and then see if you can actually sign them and bring them into your team. That's another way you can do it, but attributes wise. And then I'm going to use a separate method to try and find a player that isn't a goalkeeper. So we're going to clear this up and then go select the age range again and then pick all the attributes. This time I'm going to pick every single attribute that is in this column besides the goalkeeper attributes, right? So this is going to take a while we wait. I'm just trying to get there and get everybody in. Work rate, stamina, pace, natural fitness, jumping reach, balance, acceleration, and then you can have 15 is a wildly aggressive number, but we're going to leave it at that, and then we're going to start pushing it all the way down between that age. This is like an ideal scenario. Like I'm going to mention before, no player is actually that good in the game yet, so we're going to drop this down. After dropping it down to a place like 13, like I mentioned, no player is that good. You can go to the corner here and you can see match 36. You can then ask the search engine to match, let's say 10 or 20 out of 36 of these attributes to see which players actually match that, and then you can see that some numbers start populating, and then you can see those players that actually are that good, and then you can even increase that value from 20 to 24. Let's say 24, you can see a few players as at 23 players, and then you're already starting to see those players that are that good within that age range, and then you can just pick them up, scout them a lot further, and then sign them into your side. The final tip I'm going to want to share with you is probably straightforward. If you'd notice this Broto search bar, this is a preset search bar. I'm probably going to add a link in the description so you can download this filter search for this menu view. I don't know what they call it in Football Manager community. I'm supposed to know that by now, but what I'm looking for is the media description of a player. You can see this folder here in the media description. If you do not have it, you can just right click this and then insert a column here. And when you're inserting the column, you can go all the way to general columns, general information. Then you can see right beside media style, it's supposed to be here, but since we already have it selected, you can actually find it there. So you can come to media description and then find those players that actually labeled Wonderkid. Once you have that media description column all selected, you can then filter it by alpha, or you filter it from alphabetical order. You can have attacking midfielder, center back, elite striker, forward midfielder, and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you see all those. You see in fact 5 players that are actually classed as Wonderkids, and then you can see the clubs that they are, and then go ahead and sign those players and then have them scouted. Have your scout, oh, I need to do this with finger. Okay, yes, have your scout look at these players and see which ones you can sign, see which one you like and which one actually fits the missing player in your team, and you can actually sign them and complete your squad and have a whole band of Wonderkids in your team. Be careful when you're looking at these players. Some of them might be already signed to big sides like Bayer 04, Zebre, Fiorentina, Hoffenheim. These players may be difficult to sign, but you can see Make Son Dionis. I actually love this guy's name. He's in Corinthians. You probably want to sign this guy, and he has a mentality of resilience as well. So this guy from Corinthians is probably going to be the one player that I'm going to, pursue and look to sign him. It's only 12 million from value anyway, so I should have 12 million in my account to actually pay for this guy. So that's basically how you can do it. That's basically how you can go about scouting for players and finding those Wonderkids in Football Manager 2022. If you actually found this video useful, remember to hit the subscribe button and also hit the like button as well if you found this video useful, like I mentioned before, and turn on the notifications bell so you can get notified when new videos come up. I'll catch you up with more Football Manager tips like this in the future. Catch you guys in the next video.